Have you ever felt like you were meant for something more, but never moved? Like there's something inside you, an idea, a calling, a gift, but every time you get close to using it, something stops you. Not laziness, not lack of ability, something quieter, something harder to notice. Fear, not the loud kind, not panic, but a silent voice that whispers, "What if you fail? What if it's not enough? What if you lose everything?" And so you wait. You tell yourself, "It's not the right time. I need to be more ready. I'll start later." But later never comes. And here's the uncomfortable question. What if the biggest loss in your life won't come from failure, but from never trying at all? Most people think they are being careful, but in reality, they are slowly burying what was given to them. And the scariest part, they don't even realize it's happening, because fear doesn't always destroy your life instantly. Sometimes it does it quietly, over years, through hesitation, through delay, through excuses that sound resumno. And one day, you wake up and realize nothing grew. So what actually happens when a person hides their potential instead of using it? And why, according to one of the most powerful parables ever told, is doing nothing sometimes the most dangerous choice of all? Think about that. There was a man preparing to leave on a journey. Before he departed, he called his servants to him. He entrusted them with his possessions, not equally, but according to their ability. To one, he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1. Then he left. The one who received 5 talents didn't hesitate. He went at once, put the money to work, and gained 5 more. The second servant did the same. He took the 2 talents, worked with them, and gained 2 more. But the third servant, the one who received 1 talent, did something different. He took the money, went away, and dug a hole in the ground. And there, he hid his master's money. Time passed. A long time. And then the master returned. He called the servants to give an account. The first servant came forward, carrying confidence in his voice. "Master, you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more." The master looked at him and said, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master." The second servant stepped forward. "Master, you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more." And the master said the same. "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master." Then came the third servant. Slow steps, hesitation in his voice. "Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid." A pause. "I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, you have what is yours." Silence filled the moment. The master's expression changed. "You wicked and slothful servant," he said. "You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed." His voice grew sharper. "Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was mine with interest." He turned to the others. "Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents." The servant stood frozen. "For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away." And then came the final command. "Cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness." And just like that, it was over. The one who is faithful with what was entrusted to him will receive more, but the one who hides it will lose even what he has. Fact 1. In the parable, Jesus shows that the master intentionally gives different amounts to each servant according to their ability. This means the expectation is not equality of results, but faithfulness with what was given. Jesus teaches that God entrusts each person with different gifts, opportunities, and responsibilities, and evaluates not by comparison with others, but by what a person does with what they were given. In life today, people often compare themselves to others and think, "I have less," or "I'm not as talented." Because of this, they don't even start. But the real issue is not how much you have, it's whether you use it. Most people don't stop because they lack resources, but because they feel internally that it's not enough. Fact 2. Jesus shows that the first two servants acted immediately. The text emphasizes that they went at once and put their money to work. This means obedience is not delayed. Jesus teaches that faithfulness is revealed through action, not just intention or reflection. They didn't wait for certainty. They made a decision to act. In life today, many people stay in a state of preparation instead of action. They think, plan, analyze, but never move forward. It looks wise on the surface, but in reality, it is often hidden fear. People wait for the perfect moment, but that moment never comes. And while they wait, nothing grows. Their potential remains unchanged. Fact 3. In the parable, the third servant says, "I was afraid." Jesus deliberately highlights fear as the reason he did nothing. Not rebellion, not laziness on the surface. Fear. This shows that fear itself can become the reason a person fails to fulfill what was entrusted to them. Jesus reveals that inaction is not neutral. It is a response driven by something deeper. In real life, fear rarely looks dramatic. It hides behind logic. I'm being careful. I don't want to risk. I need more time. But underneath, it's the same thing. A person avoids responsibility because they are afraid to fail, lose, or be exposed. And because of that, they slowly bury their potential without even realizing it. Fact 4. In the parable, Jesus shows that the third servant misunderstood his master. He says, "I knew you to be a hard man." Yet nothing in the story confirms this as true. Jesus reveals that the servant's perception shaped his behavior. His fear was not only about risk, but about a distorted view of the master's character. In life, this is exactly how people behave. When a person believes that God is harsh, demanding, or impossible to please, they withdraw. They stop trying, not because they don't care, but because they are internally convinced that they will fail anyway. And this same pattern appears in everyday life. When someone believes the world is against them, they stop using what they have. Fact 5. Jesus highlights that the servant didn't lose the talent, he preserved it. He returns exactly what he was given. But the master still calls him unfaithful. This shows that in the eyes of Jesus, doing nothing is not neutral. It is failure. The expectation was growth, movement, multiplication. Today, many people think, "At least I didn't mess it up." They avoid risks, avoid responsibility, avoid visibility. They keep everything safe, but nothing grows in safety alone. A life built only on avoiding mistakes slowly becomes empty. And the danger is, it feels like wisdom, while actually being stagnation. Fact 6. In the parable, Jesus shows that the master expected initiative. Even the simplest action, like putting money with bankers, would have been enough. The servant was not punished for lack of results, but for lack of action. This reveals a powerful principle. God values movement, even imperfect movement. In real life, people often overestimate how perfect their first step needs to be. They think, "If I can't do it right, I won't do it at all." But this mindset keeps them stuck. Growth always begins with small, imperfect actions. Most people are not failing because they lack ability, but because they never start. Fact 7. Jesus ends this part of the parable with a shocking reversal. The talent is taken from the one who had little and given to the one who had more. This shows a spiritual principle. What is used increases, and what is unused is lost. Jesus is not describing injustice, but a reality of how growth works. In life, this is something people quietly observe, but rarely admit. Skills grow when used. Confidence grows when exercised. Opportunities expand when embraced. But when a person avoids action, everything begins to shrink. Their courage, their vision, even their belief in themselves. And over time, it feels like life is taking things away, when in reality, they were simply never developed. Fact 8. In the parable, Jesus shows that the master calls the servant wicked and slothful, not because he did evil actions, but because he refused to act. This is important. Jesus redefines what wrong can look like. It's not only about doing bad things, it's also about neglecting what was right to do. In life, people often justify inaction by saying, "I didn't hurt anyone." But the deeper issue is this: what should you have done that you didn't? Many people live avoiding obvious mistakes, yet ignore their responsibility to grow, to act, to step forward. And over time, this quiet passivity becomes a form of loss. Fact 9. Jesus emphasizes that the master returns after a long time. This shows that there is a period of trust, a space where the servants are free to act without immediate supervision. Jesus teaches that faithfulness is revealed over time, not in a single moment. In real life, this is where most people relax. When there is no immediate consequence, no pressure, no deadline, they begin to drift. Days turn into months, months into years. And because nothing bad happens right away, they assume everything is fine. But time is exactly where potential is either built or silently wasted. Fact 10. In the parable, Jesus shows that the faithful servants receive not only reward, but greater responsibility. "I will set you over much," the master says. This reveals that growth leads to expansion. The goal was never just preservation, it was increase and trust on a higher level. In life, many people want more influence, more opportunity, more impact. But they overlook this principle. More comes after faithfulness with less. If a person avoids responsibility at a small level, they won't suddenly become ready for a bigger one. Growth is built step by step through consistent action. Fact 11. At the end of the parable, Jesus shows a serious consequence: separation. The servant who did nothing is cast out. This is not just about money or productivity. Jesus is pointing to something deeper: a life disconnected from purpose, from trust, from relationship with the master. In life, this doesn't always look dramatic. It looks like emptiness. A person may have comfort, stability, routine, but inside there is a quiet sense of something missing. No growth, no movement, no fulfillment. And the reason is not always failure. Sometimes it's a life where nothing was ever risked, nothing was ever used, and nothing was ever multiplied. And here's the truth most people don't want to face. The tragedy of this parable is not that the servant failed. It's that he never even tried. He didn't lose the talent. He didn't waste it. He didn't destroy it. He simply did nothing. And that was enough to lose everything. Jesus is not just telling a story about servants and money. He is revealing something deeper about life itself. You don't lose your potential in one moment. You lose it slowly, through hesitation, through delay, through fear that feels reasonable. Think about that. How many things in your life are still buried? Not because you can't, but because you're afraid. And here is the part most people miss. The greatest risk is not failure. The greatest risk is doing nothing. Because what you don't use, you lose. So maybe the question is not, what if I fail? But this, what if one day you realize you never became who you could have been? And by then, it's too late to start.